big fancy hotel.
Oh, Ryan, it was so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Anyway, we're lounging by the pool.
Tell him what happened.
Here's what happened. I'm listening to a podcast on my phone.
When he hears an ad about a direct flight
to a resort in the Galapagos Islands.
What?
Again, Ryan? So beautiful.
So beautiful. Anyway, we're just getting ready to fly home, and what do we hear?
Let me guess. A radio commercial.
For a car dealership.
Tell him what we did.
Here's what we did. We bought a car and decided to drive home.
You can't drive home from the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, did we feel foolish when we found that out?
I really thought it would float.
Radio goes where we go. A message from the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station. They brought you this message.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
News time, 9 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast. Here's what we have coming up for you in news on this here on this Wednesday. The busy boating season comes up at Clinton Lake. Department of Natural Resources officials are reminding there's an entrance at Clinton Lake that is closed for the summer. Put June 28th on your calendars for an electronic recycling event in the city of Clinton. We'll have details on that coming up in news this morning. The C.H. Moore Homestead is busying for the busy summer travel season. Details on that with Joey Long at the museum come up in news this morning. A Piatt County School Superintendent is weighing in on the potential cell phone ban from the state of Illinois, and the month of May is looking warm and wet. We hear from Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln coming up in news on this Wednesday. News is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and by Connexus, providing fiber internet in Clinton. Learn more at Connexus, or rather learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. 10 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Wednesday. The busy boating season is right around the corner, and Department of Natural Resources officials are reminding there is an entrance at Clinton Lake that will be closed this summer. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, DNR Conservation Police Police Officer Noah Workman told Regional Radio the West Side boat access is being worked on this summer.
Clinton Lake is starting to hop. The weather's starting to break. We're starting to see more boat trailers out there. Starting to see more fishermen. Kind of want to put out West Side, our boat ramp on West Side is closed. It's going to be closed for the summer, undetermined amount of time. They're doing construction and rebuilding it, put new docks, stuff like that. So they've got it all blocked off. It's very well. 5 barricades, signs, chains, everything indicates that area of the West Side is closed. The pavilion's still open. There's a playground over there that's still accessible to the public, but the ramp itself will not be available for the duration of the summer, probably into mid-fall, could be early winter. When it opens, They're hoping to have it done by the fall. Putting in new docks, and I don't know if they're doing construction to the actual ramp itself or not, but I know docks. That dock gets beat by the wind on a yearly basis, and I want to say that dock floated down the spillway, and so it's been without a dock for a little bit of time, and they finally got the approval and everything, and they're getting a new one.
While work goes on at the access, crews will have barricades to get the equipment on and off. Will have barricades removed, rather, to get their equipment on and off the site. Officer Workman says they've encountered issues early as boaters still use it despite the ramp being closed.
Look, there's one. I've only been out there once to go see it myself. Like I said, they've got barricades, and I think during the day, so that they can bring their equipment in and out easily, they're separating that barricade on the road and dropping the chain. And that's where I think they've complained to me that they've had the public has come in and tried to use the ramp or come in for whatever reason.
Okay.
And he said, I don't know how else to indicate that it's closed, but it is going to be closed.
Officer Workman notes with the busy boating season about to kick off, they hope boaters will find alternate ways to get their boats on and off the water this summer. Put June 28th on your calendar for an electronic recycling event in Clinton from 9 a.m. to noon at 101 East Washington Street. Everything from TVs to microwaves, exercise equipment, and large appliances will be accepted. There is a charge for some items. TVs and large appliances like washers and dryers are $20. Exercise equipment and microwaves are $5 each. Items also accepted include laptops, printers, monitors, UPS batteries, hard drives, cables and wires, gaming systems, cell phones, and much more. The event is hosted by Midwest Computer Recycling. Learn more by visiting easy2recycle.com or call 847-582-1730. That website is easy2recycle.com. You do not have to be a resident of Clinton to take advantage of this opportunity. It is open to the public. As the warm months approach, more and more people take time to visit the C.H. Moore Homestead. Joey Long is the director of the C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum and hopes as people travel on their summer road trips, they'll stop into Clinton and pay a visit to the historical site.
Absolutely. So I encourage people as they get out and are interested in exploring to, maybe start in your own backyard if you live here in town. And the museum is a great place to start that adventure and to start planning, especially if you are looking for Lincoln. So the new Looking for Lincoln official visitors guides were just printed, hot off the press, and I have a large supply of those to give away at the museum. And the museum did take out an ad in that publication this year. And then the graphic designer that did the guide, which is absolutely beautiful, it contains many photographs of Clinton and the museum. So Clinton and DeWitt County and the museum are very well represented in this guide. And it's just full of information of the different Lincoln sites that people can go and visit. Most of these sites being within the Abraham Lincoln National Heritage Area, which that's actually a 43 county area. And, it covers over 30 years of life that Abraham Lincoln spent. So there's a lot to learn out there, a lot to explore, but I would encourage everyone, as I said, to start with us.
Long indicates the Looking for Lincoln exhibit is a long-standing program in Central Illinois. Local exhibits are made to highlight the local history of Lincoln that doesn't always make it into the textbooks.
Right. This is a huge project, and it's been going strong for a long time. I first became associated with it when I worked at the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau. Miriam Brizard and I were working there at the time, and we had an opportunity to really get in at the very beginning of the Looking for Lincoln coming together, kind of planning what this Looking for Lincoln was going to be and what it would do. And so probably one of the things that people would be the most familiar with connected to Looking for Lincoln would be the Looking for Lincoln Wayside exhibit. We have several here in town, and all of those were sponsored by various groups and organizations here in DeWitt County, but they're also scattered all over Illinois and beyond. But one of the things, when you have these small towns, their history and stories maybe don't get into the scholarly history books. And those wayside exhibits prove a way or provide a way, even though the Barnett Tavern is no longer just off the square here in Clinton to the south. There's a parking lot there now. There's a wayside exhibit there that could tell you, hey, on this spot, this is where Lincoln walked. This is a funny story about something that happened to him here. It's just when buildings go away, landmarks are lost and whatnot, but you still know where the site is, or you still have the story. The wayside exhibits really allow you to bring that together. It's kind of like, I think of it as an outdoor museum.
The C.H. Moore Homestead has been honored by being included in the National Park Service Passport Program. This is a curated list by the National Parks Department of places that are significant to the history or culture of the country.
Well,
it really is. It really is. It brings people from all over the country. They go on their road trips and visit, each Lincoln site that has the passport stamp. And it just amazes me, some of these people, all the stamps that they've collected. And the passport stamp isn't limited just to Lincoln type sites. It's also national parks and things like that. But, in our case, we are a stop because we are designated a stop on the Abraham Lincoln National Heritage Area. If anyone's thinking about hitting the road or even just looking for Lincoln in our own backyard, come and see me. I have the free guides and the flat Lincoln.
If you're interested in learning more about the museum's programming for the summer, visit chmorehomestead.org or follow them on Facebook. 18 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Wednesday. Still to come this morning, we hear from Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln about the May outlooks for weather. That comes up next in news. A Piatt County school leader is hopeful that any cell phone ban would leave the possibility for schools to fill out how alterations for their district. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Monticello Schools Superintendent Adam Clapp told Regional Radio, the policy right now in Monticello requires middle school students to leave their cell phones in their lockers with the ability to access them between classes, while at the high school, they can carry them into the classroom, but they must put them away during class time.
At the middle school and high school typically are where the issues with cell phones lie. And at the middle school, the directives from the handbook and administration are that cell phones are in lockers. I would say for the most part, cell phones are in lockers. Students access their phones at their lockers between passing periods at times, but as far as cell phones in the classroom, that typically does not happen at the middle school. And if it does, then there's a cell phone violation that, gets an office referral and things of that nature. At the high school, our handbook says cell phones should be out of sight while in the classroom. We do allow our students to take their cell phones with them in their book bags or on their person, but they should be out of sight during class time unless a teacher gives permission.
Clapp believes the cell phone ban would become law in Illinois. However, it is his hope the legislature leaves enough room for the bill for them to be able to craft school policy that fits Monticello schools.
The cell phone ban from Springfield, essentially nothing would change at the middle school as the language is written, but it'll be interesting to see how this bill plays out. The high school, we may have to make some adjustments depending on how specific this ban becomes. The intent of the ban is, cell phones and just that social media distraction takes away from the learning environment, and we understand that happens in our classrooms at times at the high school. I'm hopeful that with the cell phone ban, there'll still be some local control to how that bill is written in our policies and things like that. I do see the benefit of trying to eliminate some of those distractions and concentrate on creating that distraction-free learning environment. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do it in a way that's still controlled by Monticello Board of Education and in our schools.
When it comes to cell phones in schools, Clapp indicates they have had only a handful of cell phone violations on a yearly basis, but the biggest issue they encounter is the social media component and kids wanting to be connected at all times or issues spilling into the school day.
As far as cell phone violations, where it becomes a disciplinary issue at school for kids improperly using them during the school day, there's a handful of those each quarter, but it's not like a huge prevalent problem. Where I do see an issue is that social media distraction piece, that maybe something happened outside of the school day that spills over into the school day, and then it just doesn't stop. And that's the piece that we're constantly working on, trying to have that disconnect. You don't need to be connected to these social media platforms all the time. Mm-hmm. I do believe that, cell phones, smartphones, it's like having a computer in your pocket. If used for an educational benefit, there's some positives, but if it's just used to keep in contact with these social media platforms, it's a distraction.
Clapp anticipates the cell phone ban going into effect in Illinois. He also anticipates some changes to having to be made to the student handbooks at the junior high and high school levels. News time, 22 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. This spring has had its up and downs when it comes to the weather, but relief could be on the way. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln explains the highs through May are trending above average. Paired with equal chances of above or below average precipitation, it could shape up to be good weather for planters and producers.
Yeah, after we get this storm system out of the way, it looks like we're going to be decent the rest of this week. And then, starting May, May is by the end of the week, we're into May. So temperatures will be above normal through that whole time. It doesn't look like really, we average around 69 for a high by the end of the month here. So that's going to continue actually in the outlooks through the first week of May, above normal temps, a little bit above normal precip in there in the first week of May. But then the middle of the month of May, actually, we're trending towards above normal temperatures through the whole month, but then equal chances of above or below normal precip beyond that. So looks like we'll dry out a little bit. May be setting up for a really solid, spring-like month there. Yeah, because the ground moisture is really looking good. We're above normal at the 4-inch, 8-inch, and 20-inch depths. So, it's pretty solid across a lot of central Illinois right now.
As the months pass, we should be getting more and more daylight hours, and Shimon notes we'll gain over an hour of sunlight through the course of May.
Yeah, it looks like we gain about an hour and 18 more minutes of sunlight as we head through May. So soak it up, and that's, going to really make it feel good because the sun's settled right now. Sunsets at about 7:25 or so, and it'll bump that another 40 minutes, 30 to 35 to 40 minutes. So sunsets toward 8 p.m. is pretty good because then you got twilight to 8:30. You really can enjoy those evenings more and more as we head through May. And we average 4.37 inches of rain in the month. So we'll probably hit that pretty well. The first week of the month will give us a dose of rain, and then it's spring, so you're going to get some rain periodically in there. But, with the soil moistures where we are, if we get a normal month of May, then that'll set us up. Because summer has some drought always. The July, August dog days of summer can dry out. So the deeper we really replenish that soil moisture, the better shot we have of not going into drought conditions as we head into the dog heat of summer.
Shimon notes this summer will hold more of the same when it comes to above average temperatures. However, precipitation is looking slightly below normal.
Well, the theme is above normal temperatures. June, July, August, the heart of summer is showing above normal temperatures actually everywhere in the lower 48. So, but pretty solidly in Illinois as well. And the precipitation wise, we're kind of near a below normal precip signal, which is the upper Midwest and then the western third of Illinois. So officially DeWitt County is just an equal chances of above or below normal precip. But, so there'll be a trend for some drier conditions in there. But hopefully that doesn't start too soon. You don't want to start June and start your drought conditions then, because August is really when we start to dry out and have a lot of that heat that just evaporates everything out of the ground. But right now it looks like pretty typical summer, a little bit above normal in terms of temps. And we average, by middle June, we're averaging 85 degrees for a high and 63 for a low. So if you're above normal, you're hitting some 90s. Keep an eye on that for everybody too.
To learn more about all things weather trends, just check out weather.gov/Lincoln. News time is 26 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. More to come on the morning show.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 27 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. An agronomist is discussing the importance of early planted soybeans in northern Illinois. Crystal Williams is with Pioneer. Williams Territory is Lee, Ogle, Whiteside, and DeKalb counties. News time, 29 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Again, news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Some thrillers on the baseball diamond in high school boys baseball action yesterday. The stories come up in sports next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump is touting what he calls the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country. Held a big rally last evening in Warren, Michigan, saying that he's ushered in the most secure border in American history. The president also says that prices for many things, including energy, are coming down. And Mr. Trump is easing some of his 25% tariffs on cars and car parts. The Catholic Church in Oklahoma wants taxpayers to fund an online charter school. The Supreme Court hearing arguments in that case today. It's been a deadly scaffolding collapse at a construction site in Port Arthur, Texas. 3 workers killed, 2 others injured in the accident at the Port Arthur LNG construction site. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures are now down 24 points. NASDAQ futures off 183. More details at srnnews.com.
Sale would be unlawful. With SRN Sports, I'm Andrew Stewart. Yesterday's NBA playoff game winners, Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers, stole one from the Milwaukee Bucks. Indiana forced 2 turnovers in the final 29 seconds of overtime. Halliburton blew past Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo for the go-ahead layup with more than a second left. Halliburton helped his Pacers top the Bucks 119-118 for the 4-1 series win. The Pacers closed the game with an 8-0 run over the final 40 seconds of overtime to eliminate the Bucks in the first round for the second straight season. Yesterday's other NBA playoff game winners, Detroit, Boston, and Denver. Yesterday's hockey playoff game winners, Ottawa, Carolina, Vegas, and Edmonton. This is SRN Sports. A reinstatement for Pete Rose could be in the works after a meeting between baseball's commissioner and the president.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred said he discussed Pete Rose with President Donald Trump at a meeting weeks ago, and he plans to rule on a request to end the sport's permanent ban of the career hits leader who died in September. Speaking at a meeting of the Associated Press sports editors, Manfred said he and Trump have discussed several issues, including Manfred's concerns over how Trump's immigration policies could impact players from foreign countries.
That's correspondent Gettin Coolball reporting. Meanwhile, yesterday's baseball winners in the National League, the Cubs, the Mets, Philadelphia, Atlanta, San Diego, and the Dodgers. American League winners, Cleveland, the Yankees, Boston, Kansas City, Texas, Houston, and Seattle. With sports, I'm Andrew Stewart.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. In a game heard here on WHOW and all its digital platforms, the Clinton Lady Maroons fell to Argenta-Oreana 15-0 in 4 2/3 innings of non-conference high school softball action in Clinton. Avery Smith led the Maroons, going 1 for 2, recording the only hit. Olivia Haynes spent all 4 innings in circle for Clinton. She allowed 15 runs on 16 hits and walked 2. The Bombers had a well-rounded offense with 7 of 9 batters recording a hit. Karma Giles went 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a run scored, while Piper Jones was 2 for 3 with an RBI. Elisa Armstrong dominated in circle for the Lady Bombers, allowing no runs on a hit. She struck out 7 and issued 0 walks. With the loss, Clinton falls to 5-11, while the Bombers improve to 11-9. Clinton hosts Tuscola Wednesday. Argenta-Oreana is off until tomorrow when they take on Arthur Lovington at Wood-Hammond. Tune in this afternoon for high school boys baseball right here on WHOW as Clinton takes on Tuscola in Central Illinois Conference play Hear it all right here on WHOW and all our digital platforms. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Cassidy Stoffel twirled a perfect game over 4 innings, and Monticello rolled Urbana 15-0 in a 4-inning run rule win on Tuesday. In non-conference high school softball action from Monticello, Stoffel struck out 9, including the last 7 she faced, and set down all 12 batters to earn the Serve Pro of Piatt-DeWitt County's Player of the Game. She was also 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs at the plate. Sadie Walsh was 3 for 3 with a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs. Thea Key was 2 for 4 with a double and 4 RBIs, while Ashley Stiverson added a double, and Madison Highland legged out a triple in the contest. The Lady Sages are 17-5 overall. They will host Bloomington Central Catholic on Thursday. Hayden Romano singled home Zeke Young to send Monticello to a 5-4 walk-off win over Mount Zion in non-conference high school baseball action from Monticello on Tuesday afternoon. Eli Kraft singled to start the 7th and was replaced by Young at first base. Eric Arnold sacrificed Young to second after Colton Vance grounded out with Young staying at second base. The Braves intentionally walked Ike Young, and Romano singled in the younger Young to win the game for the Sages. With 1 out in the 6th, Ike Young tied the game on a bunt that scored Colton Vance to tie the game at 3. Young stole second, followed by a Cole Basak single. Then Dawson Gitros followed with a single, scoring Young to put the Sages in front 4-3. Gitros had 2 RBIs. Kraft, Ike Young, Brian Wilchin, Vance, and Basak each had a hit. Ike Young went 5 innings for Monticello, while Matthias Rudolph earned the win in relief. The Sages are 18-3 overall. They host Bloomington Central Catholic on Thursday. Hear the action on 95.9 FM, WEZC, and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. A wild pitch scored Liam Smith in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Mount Pulaski walked off Jacksonville Route Catholic 1-0 in an extra innings thriller Tuesday from Mount Pulaski in non-conference high school baseball action. After Chance Payne drew a walk and Luke Martin was hit by a pitch to load the bases with 1 out, the stage was set for the dramatic finish. With Carter Clark at the plate, a wild pitch allowed Smith to race home from third, scoring the game's only run and igniting the Mount Pulaski dugout in a thrilling walk-off victory. Luke Martin went 6 innings of shutout ball, allowing 5 hits and striking out 7. Smith delivered 2 scoreless innings for the win. The Hilltoppers go to 15-3 overall. They will host Leroy on Thursday. Mitch Williams and Ace Giles drove in 2 runs apiece to lead Maroa-Forsyth past Olympia 11-1 in a run rule win in Sangamo Conference high school baseball action from Forsyth on Tuesday. Williams singled in a run in the 3rd to get the Trojans on the board, and 2 batters later, Gunnar Larner hit a sac fly to right that brought Williams home in a 3-run frame. In the 5th, Williams doubled in a run to put Maroa-Forsyth up 10-1, and Giles ended the game with a single to center that scored Williams and gave the Trojans the 10-run rule win. Williams led the charge for the Trojans, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, while Giles was 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Cooper Weiss was 2 for 2 with a double and drove in 2. Grady Rose drove in 2 runs for the Trojans as well. Caden Rose earned the win on the mound, tossing 5 innings and allowing just 1 run on 6 hits while striking out 4. Maroa-Forsyth is 13-5 overall and 4-1 in the Sangamo. They visit Argenta-Oreana on Thursday. Morton blanked Lincoln 4-0 in non-conference high school baseball action on Tuesday from Lincoln High School. Lincoln tallied just 5 hits in the game. Drew Hayes led the Rail Splitters, going 2 for 3. Ashton Corley, Austin Lucas, and Jaden Goley had hits for the Rail Splitters. Lincoln drops to 6-12 overall. They're back in action Friday on the road in Metamora. Hayworth topped Illini Central 8-5 in non-conference high school softball action from Hayworth on Tuesday. The Lady Hornets jumped out to an early lead in the bottom of the first when Gabby Dow connected for a 3-run homer, scoring Sydney Ditchin and Ellison Loudenberg. They added another run in the bottom of the second, and Sydney Ditchin doubled to right to bring home Lauren Streams. In the bottom of the fourth, Sydney Ditchin connected again for a 2-run homer to right, scoring Palin Williams. Ditchin was 2 for 3 with a double and a home run, totaling 4 RBIs. Haley Rogers was 2 for 2 with a double. Dow pitched a complete game for Hayworth, earning the win in Circle. The Lady Hornets improved to 7-10 overall and host Tri-Valley on Thursday. Olympia shut out Maroa-Forsyth 8-0 in Sangamo Conference High School softball action Tuesday from Forsyth. The Lady Spartans scored 2 runs in the first inning, 4 in the second, and secured a comfortable lead early. The Lady Trojans managed just 5 hits in the game. Adeline Simmons had 2. Maroa-Forsyth drops to 9-7 overall and 3-3 in the Sangamo. They'll visit Auburn on Thursday. Caleb Durbin hit a 2-run single in a Milwaukee 4-run 6th inning, helping the Brewers beat the Sox 7-2 on Tuesday night.
The White Sox opened their 6-game homestand with back-to-back jacks by Andrew Benintendi and Luis Robert.
4 wins as Benintendi hits a line shot toward the corner, and it's a home run to right. Robert gets a hold of one high and deep left center. And they've gone back-to-back. It's 2-1.
But the early inning pop was not enough as Sox pitching issued 10 free passes along with 2 bean batters, and the Brewers took the first of a 3-game set 7-2 on Dog Night at Wright Field. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage for game number 2 on Tuesday against Milwaukee at 6 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
And the Sox return to the WHOW airwaves on Friday. Saya Suzuki hit a 2-run homer and fell a single shy of the cycle as the Cubs went deep 4 times in a 9-0 win over the Pirates Tuesday night. Shota Imanaga gave up 6 hits with 3 strikeouts and 5 scoreless innings before leaving with leg cramps after a leadoff double from Andrew McCutcheon in the 6th. Imanaga said he felt fine after the game and expects to make his next start. Suzuki followed with an RBI single from Kyle Tucker with his 7th homer of the season, pushing the lead to 7-0 in the 7th. His double with 2 outs in the 4th was the first off Pirate starter Andrew Haney. He led off the 9th with a triple and scored on a single from Carson Kelly. Kelly followed Suzuki's double in the 4th with a 418-foot drive to the left field bleachers, and Pete Crow Armstrong doubled the lead in the 5th on a 2-run homer. Dansby Swanson added a solo shot in the 8th. Haney extended his career-long streak to 20 innings before Kelly's homer. He allowed 4 runs on 5 hits in 4 2/3 innings. O'Neal Cruz walked to load the bases for Pittsburgh with 2 outs in the 5th, but Imanaga struck out Brian Reynolds on 3 pitches. Cruz made a leaping grab in center for the 2nd out in the 4th to rob Tucker and keep Haney perfect. That ended when Suzuki doubled and Kelly homered. Haney gave up 2 more runs in the next inning on the Crow Armstrong homer and was pulled after loading the bases with a pair of 2-out walks. The Cubs lead the majors with 181 runs through 30 games and have scored at least 6 runs in 12 of 23 in April. Left-hander Matthew Boyd takes the mound for Chicago Wednesday opposite Carmen Molodzinski for the Pirates. Tuesday's game between St. Louis and Cincinnati was postponed due to weather on Tuesday. The teams will play a day-night doubleheader today. St. Louis's Tuesday night's game was called off about an hour before the scheduled first pitch of 6:40. Wednesday's first game is scheduled for 12:40 and the second 6:40. Brady Singer starts the opener for the Reds. Terry Francona, the manager of the Reds, has not announced a starter for the nightcap, while Miles Michaelis will start in the opener and Steven Matz gets the ball in the second game. Cincinnati has won 5 straight and was held without one of its biggest bats Tuesday after Austin Hayes tweaked a hamstring running the bases in the 6th inning Monday in a 3-1 win over the Cardinals. The results of the MRI for Hayes were pending. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Chance of rain showers today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 66. Easterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast again tonight, thunderstorms likely 6